now. I've got you.
Great. Great. All right. Cool. Well, yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. So, I'm not exactly sure, how many of you guys have, had REI Blackbook, if you have it right now, or if you've had it in the past, or, maybe some of you haven't even heard of REI Blackbook, but, hopefully we'll change that tonight. Again, my name is Josh Harris. I'm the lead trainer here at REI Blackbook. And so the whole purpose of this call tonight is really to show you how to set up systems for success. And, any successful business across, the past, hundreds and hundreds of years, they've had some sort of system to help run the business, right? Especially as you get bigger. Right now, a lot of you may be one-man bands. You might have a couple employees. Implementing systems into your business is really going to help you out as you scale, right? And so we're going to go through. I've got about probably 30 or 40 minutes worth of kind of just education and presentation, and then we're just going to jump right into the software, and I'll kind of show you how to set some of these systems up. Okay, so everything that we're going to be talking about during this presentation, you're going to be able to do inside of REI Blackbook. Okay, and Rhonda, if there's any questions and you feel the need, if there's a couple people that are confused, and you feel the need to stop me, just feel free and do that. Just you can butt right in. Don't feel bad by doing that. I just want to make sure I'm not going over anybody's head. Is that
That's
cool?
good. Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. So today, what we're going to cover is the 5 pillars to successful business. Okay, the 5 pillars to success in any business. We're really going to focus on the first 2 of those pillars, and we'll talk about those here in a little bit. We're also going to focus on the top 2 reasons that most investors fail. Okay, or really the top 2 reasons that that investors that do fail. Okay, so let's jump into the 5 pillars first. The first one, the most obvious and probably one of the most important, is going to be marketing, right? So you have to market, you have to get the word out, you have to get your message in front of people. Okay, if people don't know you exist, you're going to have a really, really hard time ever doing a deal, right? Okay, so if you don't get any leads, you can't do any deals, because of course nobody's ever done a deal without first getting a lead, right? So once you get those leads coming in, once people start responding to your marketing, whether you're doing direct mail, or you're doing stuff online, or you're just going and putting up bandit signs, whatever the case is, when people start responding to that marketing, you're then going to have to follow up, because most people are not going to be ready to do business with you right away, right? I mean, they're not going to be ready to, right when you get them on the phone. Very, very rarely, like 1 or 2% of people are ever going to say, yep, I'm ready to sell my house today, right? Or I'm ready to buy a house today, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. It's not going to happen very often. All right, so you have to follow up with people to stay in front of them and to stay relevant. All right, you then have to manage the deal. Okay, obviously you have to do your due diligence, you have to run your comps, you have to do your evaluations, make sure that it's actually going to be a deal before putting it under contract. And of course, once you've done that, you've marketed the deal, you can then take it to closing, and then you kind of go back to the beginning and start all over, right? Okay, so what this kind of looks like here is this perpetual roller coaster. So you start out marketing, you generate some interest, generate some leads, through follow-up and evaluation, you close the deal, and now you're kind of at the finish line. The problem is, with the majority of investors, especially newer investors, that's kind of where it stops, right? And then you have to go back to the beginning and do it all over again, okay? Because when you're over here, right, hopefully you can see my mouse, when you're spending all of your time and energy over here evaluating the deal, marketing the deal, getting somebody to buy it, you're probably not, unless you have systems in place, you're probably not marketing while you're doing all that, because you can only do so much at once, right? And you can't be all places at all times. You can't do everything all at once. Okay, so the problem then is you have to go back, start at the beginning, then you start marketing again, you follow up, you manage the deal, right? And then you do another deal, and that's great, right? And this is kind of the cycle that a lot of investors go through. Now, there's nothing wrong with it if you're looking to do, a deal here and there, maybe, 2, 3 deals a year, tops, even if you're a wholesaler, because if you don't have the systems in place to help you market while you're managing the deal, or while you go on vacation or whatever it is, you're not going to have those leads waiting for you when you're ready to do another deal. And it takes time to market, it takes time to generate interest, and it takes time to follow up. Okay, so through implementing systems in your business, you could very easily, double the production you're doing right now without a whole lot of more output. All right, and that's kind of what we're going to focus on in the next 30 or 40 minutes of this call. Okay, so the fifth element to the fifth pillar is really that system that sits on top of all of this, right? The systems allow you to get paid consistently and repeatedly, to know you have leads coming in on a weekly or monthly basis is going to be a really good feeling and going to give you confidence to go out there and start, actually doing more deals, right? Because that's really, talking to, at this point, really thousands of investors across the country, the number one thing I hear over funding, there's obviously, people have concerns and issues about funding, but the number one thing that I hear is I just can't generate enough leads, right? And that's really what you should be focused on, is creating systems to help you generate leads, right? So this is a great quote by a guy named Michael Gerber. Some of you guys may have heard of Michael Gerber. You may have read his book, The E-Myth. This quote is directly from his book. So he says, organize around business functions, not people. Build systems within each business function and let systems run the business and people run the systems. People come and go, but the systems remain constant, right? So you can kind of think of this as like building a machine, or if you think about the old Ford plants, right? They had their assembly lines, right? So you can just, if somebody leaves, or if somebody gets sick, or whatever happens, if they leave your organization, you can plug somebody else right in, and you don't really skip a beat, right? Because you've got the systems in place already that you can plug people into. Okay, so you've got to use and implement these systems in your business, and if you don't have any, it's probably why you have inconsistencies in your paychecks, if you're even getting paid at all at this point, right? And another big thing is the systems have to be easy to implement, because if you're having to go, to company A to get a website, and to company B to capture leads, and to company C to get a follow-up email campaign created, it's going to be very chaotic. And what's going to end up happening is you're either going to give up, or you're just going to get sick of it and not do it because it's so complicated. And I don't blame you, right? I hear it all the time. Josh, I'm a real estate investor. I'm not a technology guy. I'm not a web developer. I'm not a web designer. I don't know how to build websites, and that's okay, because REIBB Blackbook can help you do that. Okay, and again, we'll jump into that here pretty soon. Before doing that, though, let's kind of take a peek at the top 2 reasons why investors fail. Okay, the number one reason, the biggest reason, is there's absolutely no follow-up system in place. Okay, so it's really not that hard to go out and get a list of out-of-state owners and send direct mail pieces to them once a month for 6 months. That's really not that difficult, right? I mean, of course, it can be cost prohibitive for some people, but it's not all that difficult. The difficult part comes into play is when people actually start responding to those postcards or those letters, and now you've got maybe 10, 12, 15 people that are interested, and you're trying to manage all these leads as they come in. Some people are ready to go right now. Some people say, hey, call me back in 3 months because I'm waiting for my tenant to move out. Some people say, go fly a kite, right? And you have to filter through these different leads that come in and make sure that you have systems in place to follow up systematically with each one of them, or else it's just not going to happen. If you're operating off of sticky notes or whiteboards, or you've got notepads letting you know that you have to give somebody a call in 3 days, what happens if you leave that sticky that notepad at the office, right? It's the weekend or something like that. Okay, so number one reason is there's just no follow-up system in place. And then number 2 is you have to do it or it doesn't get done. And this comes back to what I was talking about before, where you wear a lot of different hats as a small business owner, as a real estate investor, and so you're really in charge of marketing and pre-screening deals and going on appointments and setting up closings, getting money for deals, and then it's 2016, so guess what? You probably need some sort of an online presence. So now you're having to go figure out how to get a website created. So you're the web developer, you're the IT guy, customer service when you've got a tenant maybe that calls in and they're upset with you. The list goes on and on, right? You've probably seen a slide like this before, and if not, you already know that you're responsible for a lot of things as a real estate investor. Okay. Another thing to kind of piggyback off this is to have, to be self-aware and to know what your strengths are and, to do those well and either automate or delegate what you hate doing or what you're bad at, right? I mean, if you absolutely love going on sales calls and talking to sellers, great, continue to do that, right? But if you hate the process of, marketing properties, then delegate that out or at least create a system to where it's easier for you to do, okay? Because if you have to do all those things or the business fails, you don't really own a business, the business owns you, right? Here's another kind of funny quote from Michael Gerber. He says, if your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic, right? So you're going to kind of drive yourself crazy trying to do everything at once because nothing's going to get done. You're going to stay busy and you'll probably work 12 hours a day, but it's not really going to feel like anything's actually getting done. And that's going to be very, very frustrating, right? So let's really hone in. And what we're going to do here is we're really going to hone in on the marketing and the follow-up on this call, okay? Because in my opinion, your ability to market and follow up with leads, so your ability to generate leads, nurture those leads, and actually turn them into deals is going to be directly proportionate to your success as a real estate investor. Pretty obvious. If you can't generate leads and you can't convert those leads into deals, it's going to be real hard for you to do deals consistently. Okay? So with that, let's just jump right into marketing, and we'll kind of show you some do's and don'ts of marketing for real estate investors. Okay? So let's kind of focus on how not to do it, right? So a lot of people are doing it wrong, and it's really not your fault. I mean, there's a lot that's involved if you really want to do this right. It doesn't mean it has to be super complicated, but there are a couple moving pieces, right? So first off, people start with the wrong focus if they're focused at all on their marketing, right? What that means is if you're doing blanketed mailers to just the 3 zip codes that you want to buy properties in, the problem there is that 80% of those houses are already disqualified from your buying criteria, right? I mean, if you're just blanketing a neighborhood, the majority of the people in that neighborhood are paying their mortgage on time, they're happy living there, they don't have any motivation to sell their house. If they do, it's probably not, the motivation's probably not great enough to sell at a discount. They're probably going to go sell with a realtor and try to get, asking price, right? So, so having a focus is really important, right? Being consistent. A lot of people are inconsistent with their marketing. They'll say, man, I sent out 1 mailer to 1,000 people and got 2 phone calls back and neither of them turned into deals. And so they give up on their marketing, right? They give up on their direct mail because they said that this sucks and it doesn't work. And that's just not true, right? You just have to be consistent and you have to send those mailers once a month for 5 months, 6 months to really get your return on that initial investment, okay? You need to measure your marketing as well, right? So if you're sending out 1,000 mailers, and you don't know what your response rate is, you don't know how many people are actually contacting you, then it's going to be really hard for you to judge the success of that marketing campaign. So you need to measure it. You need to use the right tools that'll help you do this and make your life easier, right? So a lot of people are doing marketing wrong, and like I said, it's really not your fault because we've kind of been brainwashed a little bit by big media companies to think that, if we've got business cards and we've got flyers, it means we're in business, right? And that's just not the case, okay? Nobody wants to see your face on the side of, a bus stop or on a bench at a bus stop, right? Because guess what? If I'm sitting at a bus stop, I'm probably looking at my phone, right? I'm not looking at the side of the bus stop. I'm not looking at the name or the face on the back of the seat I'm sitting on. I'm looking at my phone, probably on Facebook, right? So that might be a good place for you to actually think about marketing instead of spending money on, crazy things like, bus stop ads. And I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't doing that. I know it's, kind of realtors do that. We may have some realtors on the call, and this is not to pick on realtors, but it's just a reality, right? So that people think that, to be in business, we need business cards, we need flyers, we need this and that. I know plenty of people that have done deals, multiple deals without ever having business cards, right? I mean, you don't have to have those types of stuff, right? Technology can also be pretty overwhelming, okay? So I'm just going to jump through this real quick, but this is kind of the technological landscape from 2011 to 2015. So in 2011, there was about 100 different software solutions to help you automate your business, right? To help build websites, to help capture leads, to help follow up via email, to help market properties. There's about 100 of them in 2011. 2015, there was over 1,800. Okay, so I don't even know what it's going to be in 2016, right? So it's getting easier and easier to develop this technology, which is a good thing, but it's also creating a lot of confusion for the consumer because there's just so many choices. There's so many different softwares you could choose from. Okay, and it just kind of leaves you confused and bewildered and perplexed, and any other type of adjective that basically means lost, right? Confused. And that's not what we want. We want you to have a clear vision and an easy, system and easy tools to use. Okay, so looking at marketing done the right way, it's pretty much just the opposite of this slide that we looked at back here, right? It's basically just the complete opposite. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here, but marketing done the right way, there's a simple focus. Okay, and we'll go into that. You're consistent with your marketing. It's easy to track, so you know exactly how many people are responding to your ads, and it really, really helps if it's built on one platform, so you don't have to have a website over here and your contacts stored over there and your email autoresponder somewhere else. Okay, it really, really helps to just simplify the marketing and create a simple focus, right? So you want to focus on people with problems and provide the solutions to those problems. So let's go back to that scenario that we were talking about before, when we said, the problem with blanketing a neighborhood. Okay, so let's say you've got 3 zip codes you want to buy properties in. All right, in those 3 zip codes, just for easy math, let's say there's 1,000 properties. Okay, now you could certainly send a mailer to all 1,000 properties. And you could say, hey, we buy houses, we pay cash, we buy as is, no matter if you're going through divorce or you've inherited a property or you're behind on taxes or you have code violations. And you could list off the 19 different reasons why somebody might need to sell a house, right? The only problem with that is the message is so broad that it doesn't resonate with anybody specifically, and those mailers typically get thrown in the mail, or I'm sorry, thrown in the trash, right? Now, on the flip side of things, you could go in those same 3 zip codes. You could look at that same population of 1,000 homes, and there's different websites, different list sources that you could go to, like listability.com. There's listsource.com, and if anybody wants the links to these, please just email me. My email is josh@reiblackbook.com. And I'll send the links right to you. But listability.com, listsource.com, there's some other ones, but if you need some list sources, just let me know. Shoot me an email. My email is josh@reiblackbook.com. But where I'm going with that is, instead of just sending a blanketed mailer, why don't you go into the same population of 1,000 homes and see who's behind on their taxes? And so maybe 200 homes. And you can see how many of these people are behind on taxes and also are out-of-state owners. And so now you're kind of layering on top. You're just layering, pain points on top of each other. And so what you're doing is, instead of sending that mailer to 1,000 people, you're just sending it to, let's say, the 120 that have specific problems. right? By sending to the 1,000 people, you'd be touching those individuals for sure, but you'd also be sending to 880 other people that don't qualify, and that's money, right? I mean, a mailer costs 50 cents to a dollar. I mean, that's $400 to $800 that you're just kind of throwing down the drain because you're sending to people that aren't targeted, right? So that's really, really important to focus on people that have specific issues, okay? And that's why I wanted to spend so much time on this specific slide. So if you guys have any questions about that, please write them down, and I'm happy to answer them towards the end of the presentation, okay? Because that's super important. Another thing too is again, just focus on people with problems. People probably are not at this point searching for you specifically online, your brand, because they probably don't know you exist, right? Unless you're a big brand in your community, which if you are, that's awesome. But if not, they're probably searching for, how to sell my house in St. Louis, Missouri, how to sell my house fast in Tampa, Florida, right? They're not searching for, ABC real estate company because they probably don't know you exist, okay? So that's just another thing that you want to think about. You also have to be consistent with your marketing, right? So create those consistencies. So even if you forget to send the mailer or if you're out of town, it goes out automatically, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Another great website for you to use if you haven't checked it out is click2mail.com. Click the number 2mail.com and also yellowletters.com, and they allow you to your mail because you've really narrowed it down, or even 1,000 people, or 3,000, whatever the list is. You can go to a website like click2mail.com and tell them, hey, I've got this postcard that I want you to mail to this list, every month for the next 5 months, and they'll set it up on autopilot, and you just pay them when the mailers go out, and so you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to remember to do it next month. It just happens automatically, right? You just have to obviously pay them, and what that does is it creates consistency, and so you don't have to worry about it, and that's the whole purpose of systems, is to create the consistency, to automate the process so it's kind of off your plate, but it's still happening, all right? Another really important thing is you've got to measure your marketing, because if you're spending money on marketing and you don't know what the return that you're getting is, then you're potentially wasting a lot of money, right? So you've got to measure your marketing. So let's take a look at some examples of this here in a minute, all right? So there is a kind of a famous quote by, I think, maybe the CMO or CEO of JCPenney. And he says, I know half of my marketing doesn't work. The only problem is I don't know which half, right? And some of you may have heard this quote before. It's kind of popular in the marketing world. But if you haven't, it's really powerful because, they're spending millions and millions of dollars on marketing. And if he could figure out which half isn't working, he could stop that half and reallocate the funds to what is working, right? Because most people think that marketing is a huge expense or it's hard to do, but that's just because a lot of times people are throwing money at marketing and not knowing if it's working, right? So if you're measuring your marketing, you can stop what's not working, take those funds and reallocate them to what is working. So now you're generating even more leads, or you can take those funds and allocate it to something else in the business. All right? We have the tools inside of REI Black Book to help you measure this marketing. All right? So let's take a kind of a little case study here. So Wayne Sheaffer is one of our larger real estate investors in terms of volume per year. So he did over 270 deals in 2015, and he uses REI Black Book to systemize his business, specifically the landing pages for lead capture and then phone tracking as well. Okay, so Wayne just actually bought a new Hummer. This was probably last year now, but he bought a new Hummer to advertise his business. All right, now I don't necessarily recommend you guys go out and buy a new Hummer and wrap it with We Buy Houses, but just kind of go with me on this here. You can think of this as any type of advertisement. This could be a postcard that says We Buy Houses on it and has a phone number. This could be a bandit sign. This could be an ad on Facebook. You know, the list goes on and on. But, you know, Wayne dumped probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 grand into this car, because obviously Hummers are not cheap. And he wrapped it, which is another couple $1,000s. And you can see here, it says "We Buy Houses." There's a phone number on it, and then there's also a URL or a domain name down here that goes to his landing page. Now, please don't call this phone number or visit this page, because I'm going to show you what that page looks like on the next slide. Okay, so that'll skew his numbers, because he does track everything, because he spent a lot of money on this car, right? But what I want to show you is, you know, he's driving around, like, again, he's in the Chicago area, just driving around as normal, and he gets leads that call into his phone number and visit his website and opt in on a monthly basis just by driving this car around. All right, so let's take a look at 24hoursebuyers.com. So 24hoursebuyers.com is simply a landing page. It just says, you know, we can pay cash for your property. There's a nice little video here and a web form. Okay. So down here you can see it says what's missing. All right. So what's missing is all of the other distractions, and, you know, the blog and the About Us page, and, you know, hey, we buy houses, we rent houses, we sell houses. You'll notice there's no navigation bar up here, right? There's really nowhere for them to go other than to watch the video, read the content, and then opt in if they're interested, right? So this is called a landing page or a splash page. There's a lot of different pages, or a lot of different names for it, but this is specifically designed to help you capture leads. Okay, so let's take a look at the analytics here. So like I said, there's tracking tools built directly into REIBB Blackbook, and these are not overly complex. You don't have to go and really set all this up. When you create a new landing page, all of this tracking is built right in. So you can see here, and this is over the course of, sorry, I tried scrolling down on my mouse like I'm actually on a web page here. You can see here that this is about a 30-day window from last October to the beginning of last November. So in that 30-day window, give or take, he had 262 people that visited his website. 12 people opted in for a 4.58% conversion rate. Now, that's not a ton of people that opted in. The reason is because he's asking for a ton of information. If he would have just asked for name and email, I'll bet you 30 to 40% of people would have opted in. But he doesn't want names and emails, so he wants all this information, and that's fine. So he actually ended up capturing 12 leads in 30 days, 12 seller leads just from driving his car around, right? So that's not too bad, right? I mean, if one of these turns into a deal and he gets, let's say he makes 20 grand from that deal, he's now able to go look back and say, okay, where did this deal come from? Okay, the lead came from my car. All right, that car cost me 60 grand. I just made 20 from this deal. So, he's a third of the way to paying off that investment. And guess what? This car is not going anywhere, right? I mean, he still drives around every day. So it's generating leads every single day. So that's just one kind of micro example of creating a system to market your business. It's not overly complicated. He's got his car wrapped with, his signage. This could easily just be a sticker on the back of your car. Drives people to a landing page and they opt in, right? But you notice that he's also got a phone number. So he actually also got 91 phone calls and 24 messages and one text message. So he captured over 100 leads in 30 days, whether it be a lead from his website or somebody that calls in to the AMP system, which is our lead capture system. And every single person that calls in, our system captures their information for you to then give them a call back. Okay? So again, you don't have to go buy a Hummer, but you certainly could do some direct mail pieces with the same type of messaging and drive them back to a website or drive them back to your phone number. Right? So it's just something to think about. You can see here when people call in, you're actually capturing their information. So we're capturing their phone number for you to then pick up the phone and give them a call back. Right? These tools are simple to use. They're not overly complicated. You don't have to go touch any code. You don't have to integrate systems because it's all built in one platform, right? So all of your marketing automation, all of your websites, all of your contact management, your CRM. You can create content, you can blog, manage your transactions on here. Now, we don't do any, e-commerce or anything like that, so you can't collect money, but you can, manage all of your files and manage all of your contracts and things like that. It really, really helps too that REI Blackbook is specific to the real estate industry, so you're not having to go and take a, kind of just a generic system and mold it into your business. We've already done that, so this is specific to real estate. All right. Now we've also identified, some different highways of marketing. So you've got offline marketing, you've got referrals, you've got online marketing, of course, the MLS and for sale by owner. Right. Now I just want to go through and do one more case study, and we're going to kind of fly through this one because I don't want to take too much time on it. But if you guys have questions about it, let me know at the end. Okay. But of course, as you probably know, there's offline marketing, direct mail, billboards, bandit signs, referral-based marketing, agents, other referral partners, bird dogs, some online type of marketing, and then, you can go to the MLS and you can also kind of try to find for sale by owner leads as well, all right? So like I said, we've kind of identified 43 different lanes to grow your business, and we don't have time to cover all 43, so I'm going to cover one real estate investor's story. His name's Ruben Perez, and he came up with, by no means is it the most sophisticated marketing strategy, but it's probably one of the most ingenious. Okay, so I just want to kind of fill you in on Ruben's story and how he went from being a mechanic at a car shop to running a multiple six-figure real estate business in the matter of probably 2 years. Okay. That's probably conservative. I mean, he really took off when he hit real estate. The story starts off kind of tragic. I mean, he lost his father right before he was going into college. He actually had a golf scholarship to the University of Texas. He's an incredibly talented golfer. But being the hardworking guy and the family guy that he is, he actually forfeited that scholarship and did not go to college. He went into, had some odd jobs here and there. He's kind of a car guy, so like I said, he went into fixing cars before he got into real estate. All right, so once he got into real estate, just like everybody else getting started, he struggled to generate leads. Okay, so he went to a couple seminars. They told him to put a magnet on the side of his car that just says, we buy houses with a phone number. So he did that. He's driving down the highway, and he tells it a lot better than I do. But it's pretty funny. He describes how his life and his business changed in a Walmart parking lot. Okay, so he's driving down the highway, gets off the highway, pulls into a Walmart parking lot, and this little old lady kind of, gets out of her car and shuffles up to him and says, kind of in a panic, "Sir, I've been following you for the last 2 miles, and I saw the sign on the side of your car, but I can't read the number. It's too small print." Okay, so Ruben, kind of light bulb went off in Ruben's head and said, "Man, why don't I, kind of scratch this whole car magnet thing and make that sign real big on the back of my car window?" And so, he basically got white vinyl stickers and put it on the back of his car window. He also recruited his family to put the same advertisement on the back of their cars. And so we had, probably about 15 people driving around, kind of like what Wayne had going on here, except he didn't have to buy a Hummer, and he was able to put it on the back of his family's cars too, right? So he started getting phone calls. He started doing a couple deals off of these car stickers that were on the back of people's cars, and it just said full asking price for your house, with the phone number, and that was really it. Right? We'll make you a cash offer. So Damon, who's the owner of REI Blackbook, kind of saw what he was doing, gave him a call and introduced a little bit more of a systematic approach to it. Right? I mean, the whole theme here is creating systems. So Damon said, "Hey Ruben, we've got this new feature that is, that we're getting ready to roll out. Why don't you test it for us and let us know how it goes?" That feature was what we now call the AMP system, which is a call capture system. Okay, so that call capture system allows you to create unique extensions for each message, right? So what Ruben did was, because what the problem he had was he had so much success with his family, he thought, why don't I start recruiting other people that I don't know to put a sticker on the back of their car? The problem he ran into was that, people said, well, that's great, but how are we going to track it back to my car? And he didn't really have a good answer, okay? But once we armed him with the phone system, the AMP system, he could confidently tell drivers, hey, I've got, every single car gets a unique extension. So if a lead comes from the back of your car, I'll be able to trace it back to the extension. I'll know it came from you, and I'll pay you out accordingly, right? So Ruben went from having 19 cars in the Phoenix area to now having over 300 cars. I need to update this slide. Ruben's, last I talked to him, he was just about to break through 300 cars in the Phoenix area. He gets he gets people that call his business every single day, multiple times a day, from these car signs, right? Just because he implemented this simple system of putting stickers on the back of people's cars saying we pay cash for houses. You can see here, we pay cash for houses, 24-hour recorded info, call anytime. We also buy houses in any condition, right? So using the AMP system, he was able to do that and scale this marketing operation, okay? So it's really not an overly complicated process. Ruben basically recruits drivers, okay, and I won't have time to go into all of this, but he recruits drivers, puts a sticker on the back of their car, okay? They drive around as normal. They just drive to work. It's not like they have to drive any routes. The driver, and this is a very amateur sketch of this process, but I think it does the job. The drivers drive around as usual. Somebody sees it. They pick up the phone. They call. They hear the 24-hour recorded message. Okay, Ruben or one of his inside sales reps gets a text message letting him know that they have a new seller lead because somebody called. Okay, that inside sales rep or Ruben himself picks up the phone, talks to the distressed seller, gets their information, then ultimately lands the deal if it is a deal, right? So it's super easy to do. It's really not an overly complicated process. And if you guys have any questions about this, like I said, write them down, and I'll stay on as long as needed to help answer these questions towards the end of the call, okay? So the way that we know that this is a legitimate system and it works is because other people are having success. Ruben actually kind of packaged this up, and he now sells his program teaching people, he calls it Bandit Sign on Wheels, and he teaches people how to do this, right? I mean, he teaches people how to build this system, how to create this marketing system, and how to get these cars on the road, right? So Patti Heckel, in just 6 months, profited $106,000. That's net profit using this system alone in just 6 months, okay? Rey Marquez, same deal. He implemented this system, and you can see here he's got a number of different drivers, and these are just some of his drivers that he's got on the road. And guys, these are not like traditional bandit signs, obviously, right? You're not putting them out on a Saturday for them to get torn up on a Monday. These are staying on the backs of people's cars. Okay, so it's a super powerful system. And again, everything can be tracked back using extensions. Okay, so the extensions are super powerful because they allow you to track. Now, again, maybe this system's not for you. That's totally fine. But you could use the extensions to track your marketing pieces, right? You could use the extensions to track your bandit signs, your traditional bandit signs. If you're putting out 50 bandit signs, wouldn't it be nice to know which ones are actually getting called, right? So it allows you to do that as well. So the rest of Ruben's story, he's been able to create systems in his business. Okay, he was inducted into the 2014 Rich Dad Education Hall of Fame. So he was a Rich Dad education student. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He actually, so in 2014, he netted over $300,000 in profit. He hasn't given us his numbers from 2015 yet, but he tells us they're bigger. He's also qualified for the U.S. Open sectional. So the PGA U.S. Open sectional, right? So for those of you that aren't golf fans, that's a big deal, right? He's on the cusp. He literally, I think 2 or 3 weekends ago, competed in a qualifier to go to the PGA US Open and missed the cut by a stroke. He now works about 3 to 4 hours a day on his business, and he golfs the rest of the day. And he obviously spends time with his family and his daughter, but he golfs. I mean, because that's truly his passion. Real estate's not necessarily his passion. It's the vehicle that allows him to pursue his passion, right? And now I'm not, this is not one of those things that say, hey, we're going to teach you how to wholesale a house working 30 minutes a day. That's not a reality, right? And if anybody tells you that, they're lying to you, okay? Now, can you get there? Yes, absolutely. Ruben works probably about 3 hours a day on his business. When he first got started, he was probably working 70, 80 hours a week. But creating the systems, hiring some people to do the things that he does not like to do has given him the freedom to pursue what he's truly passionate about, which for him is golf. Okay, and he also likes teaching as well. So this is actually just a picture of him with Damon's daughter teaching her how to golf. Okay, so it's extremely powerful. Ruben's got an awesome story, just a super awesome guy. I mean, he comes to a lot of our boot camps. So if you guys ever come to one of our events, one of our live events, which we do twice a year, we've actually got one coming up. I'm going to talk about it towards the end of the call. Ruben is typically at those events. Go up and say hi to him. He's a super awesome guy. He's probably one of the most giving people I know. He'd be willing to sit there and talk to you and give you advice and help you any way that you can with his business. All right. So with that, that was really just the marketing side of things, right? So that's only the first part of it. You still have to follow up on leads. And this is really where 92% of investors fail just miserably, right? So if you think of the whole marketing process, you may have heard of, marketing funnels or sales funnels. If we kind of flip this thing on its side, what it's really going to look like is just that, a funnel, right? Because when you go through, you're going to go and, let's say you send out, 500 marketing pieces. Send out 500 marketing pieces. Of those, 100 people visit your website. Of those, 2 people actually turn into leads. And then of those, you do 1 deal. Okay? And so these are just very raw numbers. I mean, there's not a whole lot of thought behind this, right? So you could say maybe you send out 500 postcards, 100 people call, which is very unrealistic, right? I mean, direct mail, you'll probably get 3 to 5% response rate, on average, okay? But for the sake of this example, 100 people contact you. Out of those, 2 people are actually really interested, okay? They're interested right now. And then through your salesmanship, you close 1, okay? That's kind of what a funnel looks like. All right, now if we want to double our production, right, conventional wisdom would say that you have to, double your output, right? So if you're sending out 500 mailers to get 100 prospects to generate 2 leads to do 1 deal, well then if I just send out 1,000 mailers, I'll probably get about 200 prospects, probably get about 4 leads, and then that'll allow me to close 2 deals, right? And so you could certainly do that. I would encourage you that this is the wrong way to think, and encourage you to really focus on your follow-up. Because if these are dollars, okay, let's say if these 500 postcards equates to $1 a piece, then that means you're spending $500 to send those out. To double that, you're going to spend 1,000. Okay, over here, you've already spent the $500 to generate these 100 prospects. Why not go back and work the other people that have not yet expressed real interest? Because only 2 people are really interested. But why not create, email campaigns, create reminders to pick up the phone and call them, hire a virtual assistant to stay in contact with them? Because you've already spent the money to at least get their information, right? You've got them in the funnel. They at least know who you are, and they're somewhat interested. The reality is the majority of these people are still not going to do business with you. But instead of spending a bunch more money, focus on your follow-up and figure out how you could turn, 4 more people into leads and convert 2 of those into actual deals instead of going back and just spending more money, all right? So follow-up is really what's going to separate, aside from marketing, right? Once you get the marketing thing figured out, if you can create just very simplistic follow-up, just staying in contact with these individuals on a regular basis, it's going to be a game changer for your business, especially if you've been in business for a while and you've got an existing database to go off of. You could go back to all the people that have expressed interest in selling you a house in the last year, and you could literally probably just send them an email blast, and say, hey, are you still interested in selling your house? And I'll bet you that you'd get 5, 10, 15 people that would respond and at least reopen the dialogue. It doesn't mean that you're going to actually do a deal from it, but you're at least re-engaging with them and opening up the dialogue, right? So the problem that most people run into is the reality is only 2% of people are actually ready to do business with you right away, and that's if you're lucky, right? So if you make 100 sales calls today, if anybody's ever been in inside sales and you're just dialing the phone all day, you can make 100 dials, and on average, I don't know, 1, 2, maybe 3 people will actually, book an appointment or say yes, all right? The majority of people are only going to act once there's trust built, all right? So the reason it's so difficult is just because there's too many other things going on, right? There's too many things going on. The kids got practice, there's bills to pay, whatever, right? Whatever is going on, there's just a lack of time, and there's budget constraints too, right? There's budget constraints for you. There's lack of time for them, right? So you can't send mailers out every week to stay in front of these people, right? You'll probably run out of money, all right? These aren't necessarily negatives. They're just the reality, right? It's just the reality of the market. That's how it is, okay? So we can all sit and kind of pout about it, or you can get up and you can do something about it, okay? So, how long does it take somebody to buy? Well, there's not really an answer for that, right? They buy or they sell, or, they rent a house, or whatever it is you're trying to do when they're ready, right? Not when you need to pay. And that can be problematic, okay? So you have to follow up with people because you want to be there when they're ready, right? Let's step back a second. So maybe you contact them today. Today's, I think, June 28th, unless my watch is wrong. If you contact today, well, maybe they're not actually ready to sell their house until September 1st because that's when their tenant moves out. Well, if you don't follow up with them, mid-August and re-engage with them at the beginning of August, they're going to sell that house when they're good and ready, but they're going to sell it to the next investor that actually hits them at the opportune time, right? So you got to follow up because 2% of people say yes on the first touch, right? This is a super important slide. These next 2 to 3 slides are really, really important. You guys might want to get out a pen and paper and jot this down. 2% of people say yes on the first touch. 3% say yes on the second touch. 4% of people say yes on the third touch. 10% of people say yes on the fourth touch. And 81% of sales that occur, 81% of people that eventually say yes on the 5th point of touch or after, right? So if your idea of following up is, you get off the phone with somebody, mark it on your calendar for 2 weeks later to pick up the phone and call them, and then maybe you forget to do it, or maybe you do it and that's it. Well, guess what? You're only really working with, 2 to 5% of the market that's ever going to say yes. You got to create those follow-up paths, okay? So don't give up, right? On the flip side of things, 44% of people, they do give up after the first touch. If somebody calls off of a postcard and they say, you know what, Bob, I need to sell my house, but I'm just not ready to do it right now. I've gotten my, the one, strangely enough, that I hear a lot from investors is, their son's renting out the property, or, they're renting it out to their nephew or their niece or whatever. And what's inevitably going to happen, the majority of the time, is that relative is going to stop paying rent, and then it becomes a real sticky situation because they don't want to evict their son or their daughter or their nephew or their niece, right? But once the pain gets great enough, they're going to get fed up with it and they're just going to sell the house, right? They're not going to straight up evict their daughter or their son. They're going to say, hey son, sorry, I'm selling the house. You've got 2 months to move out or whatever. And if you create those follow-up paths, when that frustration sets in, they're going to think of you. But most people, when they call and that seller says, hey Bob, you know what, I'm just not ready to sell because my son's renting it out for me right now, Most people say, okay, no problem, and then they never follow up with them again. The ones that do get the deal. Okay? So 44% of people give up after the first touch. 22% of people give up after the second touch. 14% give up after the third touch. 12% of people give up after the fourth touch. So that means, if we're doing the math and assuming all this math is correct, that means that 92% of people give up on an eventual yes. All right? So if you are one of the 8% of people that make it past the fifth point of contact, that fifth point of follow-up, you're actually now, fighting, in air quotes, for 81% of the business, simply because you're following up, right? So if you can follow up with people more than 5 times, you've gotten through the threshold, you've made it past all of the wannabe real estate investors and all the wannabe, entrepreneurs and everybody else that doesn't want to follow up, you're now in that elite group of people that legitimately follows up. They've got systems in place. And now there's not as many people fighting for the deal because you're following up, right? And every time you send that postcard or every time you send that email, maybe they don't read it in full or maybe they don't even open it, but they see your company. They see your name. They see your logo, whatever it is. And, it starts to create a little bit of legitimacy in their mind because most people don't do it, right? I mean, most of the time they see a postcard from one company and then they never see them again, okay? So you got to create those follow-up plans, right? So let's take a look at what one of these things actually looks like, all right? So one of these kind of, systems, okay? I like, a lot of people like to call it a marketing funnel or a sales funnel. So if we go and we send out a direct mail piece, and this might be hard to see, but this is a direct mail piece. In this example, we're sending them to some sort of a web page, hopefully it's some sort of a landing page, right? Now, you could send them to a phone number, and you can do all that as well. That's great, but for this example, we're going to send them to a web page. They click on the button, they opt in. You can also then send them to another page where you ask for more information, right? You ask for their property address, their phone number, when do you need to sell, etc. Okay. After that, you could then forward them on to your website. So the I don't want to say buyer because in this case it's a seller, but the seller's path is really, they get a postcard in the mail, they read it, says, do you have a house in St. Louis that you need to sell fast? Well, yes, I do. Okay, go check out, sellyourhousenow.com to learn more. They go to sellyourhousenow.com. They read all the information on that landing page. Everything looks good. They're interested in learning more. So they give you their name and email. Okay? When they give you their name and email, it then takes them to a page that says, hey, your free report or whatever it is that you offered is on the way. If you're interested in getting a fair cash offer on your house with no strings attached, simply, fill out the information below and we'll contact you within the next 48 hours with a fair cash offer, right? If they opt into that, they're then just sent to your business website where they can learn more about your company, right? All of this can be created inside of REIBB Black Book. So for those of you that have REIBB Black Book, you already have all this available to you, and hopefully you're using it. If not, I'm going to jump in about probably 5 minutes here and show you how to do some of this stuff. All right. Now, where the magic really happens and the automation and the systems is kind of behind the scenes. Okay. So when somebody fills out their information here, when you get their name and email, it goes into our CRM system, which we call the Client Genie. That's simply where you manage all of your contacts. Okay. Inside of the Client Genie, we've got automated email campaigns. Okay. That are already created, they're already written for you. You simply need to deploy them in your business. You can customize them if you want to. And the emails go out automatically. And what this is doing is it's creating what we like to call a return path for your sellers or your buyers or let's just call them your prospects. It's creating a return path for your prospects. Okay? So if they give you this information here, their name and their email, but they don't go and give you their property information, that's okay because these emails are going to follow up with them over 6 times to say, hey, if today is the day that you're interested, click on this link and we'll make you a fair cash offer. of course, all of your phone number and everything's going to be in those emails as well. And so you'll be getting phone calls from these people too. Okay. Now, you can kind of bypass this and you can just send them directly to this page, similar to what Wayne Sheaffer did directly from the Hummer. You're just not going to capture as many leads. Now, that's fine because the leads you do capture are going to be highly qualified. It doesn't mean they're going to be ready to sell their house right away. But if they're willing to give you their property address and their phone number, they're going to have some sort of motivation, right? They're at least going to want to learn more. Okay? Hopefully this makes sense. Like I said, if you got questions, please jot them down because this can be really, really cool and really, really game-changing for your business if you set some of these simple things up, right? Now, what's really great is, like I said, we've got 19 campaigns already created for you, okay? So we've got campaigns. When I say campaigns, I'm talking about email campaigns. We've got direct mail pieces. We've got action sets to help segment these leads as they come in for 19 different categories, right? Absentee sellers, lease option, wholesale buyers, bird dogs, probate, bankruptcy, tenant renters, private lending, right? So the content's already there, right? So with a system like this, there's truly no excuse other than, if you don't have the money to go and do direct mail, I understand that, right? You might have to hustle your way. You might have to grind out your first deal, and then hopefully you'll take that money and reinvest it in your business and market, right? But we've got the content. You've got all of, the websites, the landing pages, the phone number, all of that stuff you have at your fingertips with REI Black Book. So there's really no excuse why you can't create some of these simple systems and create some of those efficiencies in your business that will allow you to kind of take a step back and maybe go on vacation once in a while and actually still generate leads, right? So here's just a little testimonial from a guy named Mark Menard. He was actually also a Rich Dad Hall of Fame inductee, currently holds over $1.7 million in real estate. And Mark wrote in on Facebook, and he said, I was skeptical of autoresponders, but somewhere between autoresponder number 3 and 5, they call. One day, I'll learn to stop questioning you, right? Dan Shaker, here's another one. Dan's a guy out of Ohio. He's a single dad. And so for him, he says, time is a big issue for me. During the day, I'm a stay-at-home dad. So what REI Black Book allows me to do is great because it protects the time I have with my son and my family during the day, right? So while REI Black Book is a software, it really allows you to just create these efficiencies and create time, right, in your business. So I'm sure you've heard it before, right? The money's in the follow-up. You got to follow up. We're kind of beating a dead horse here, so we'll kind of skip over this. One last thing too, right? Your mind is a terrible database. You need to have all of your contacts in one place, okay? You need to have all your contacts in one central location so you're not going around to Excel spreadsheets over here, Google Sheets over here, notebooks over here, my Gmail contacts, my cell phone contacts, whatever, right? So you got to have everything in one place. That's what REI Black Book allows you to do. Now, I want to take the time, probably about another 20 minutes, to jump into REI Black Book and kind of show you some of this stuff. Before I do that, Rhonda, have you seen any questions come through?
Haven't. Not yet.
Okay. If you guys have any questions, I mean, I can open it up to a question or two before we jump into REI Black Book. If you want to just jump right in, we can do that as well. So if you got a question, feel free to fire away. If not, we'll just jump right in. So I'll wait like 10 seconds, and if I don't see anything, we'll just go ahead. Yeah, I don't know if I can tell if there's hand raising.
Yeah, I don't see any hands up or any questions in the chat box.
Cool. All right, we're just gonna power through. Cody says the information is great. Keep going. Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's just jump into REI Black Book. Where am I at here? Too many windows open. Okay, so Rhonda, can you see REI Black Book now?
I can. Yes.
Perfect. Cool. Anthony says good stuff. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. All right. So if you guys haven't seen REIBB Black Book, this is the home screen. All right. So this is what you're going to see. We've got about 20 minutes to go through and just kind of give a brief overview of what it is that we have to offer. And then I've got a little special offer for you guys that don't have REIBB Black Book that might be interested in it. If not, no big deal. This is not like a big time, sales pitch, but it's some pretty cool stuff that we have, right? So you've got what we offer, all right, is there's a lot of different things, but at a high level, it's a centralized CRM system. Okay, so what a CRM is, it's contact relationship management or client relationship management. It's basically the ability to keep all of your leads in one place. All right, so I just want to jump in and show you my contacts real quick. So we've got a bunch of different tools. Team Tasks, which is in beta. This is an awesome new tool. It's coming out here in a couple months. We've got Property Pipeline that allows you to manage all of your property leads. Okay, go through and manage all of your properties. Web Tools, which allows you to manage your online presence, your website, your landing pages, things of that nature. We've got a domain manager where you can buy domain names for your business. So if you wanted to go buy, CoreyBuysHouses.com, if that's available, you can actually buy that and use it with one of your websites. The Client Genie, which is what I'm going to jump into first, which is where all of your contacts are going to be stored. And then we've also got the Property Finder module. It's kind of like where you can manage all of your bird dogs. So you can manage your entire team of bird dogs directly through here as well. All right. So inside of the Client Genie, like I said, this is where all of your contacts are going to be stored. So if you're sitting here right now, you're saying, Josh, I don't have any contacts because I'm just getting started and I haven't done a deal. Well, if you're serious about real estate, and and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here, but the biggest frustration point that I have when working with new real estate investors is not the fact that you're new and have a lot of questions. That I don't have a problem with at all, because I'm happy to help people, right? I'm happy to help people get their marketing systems set up because it truly can be, it can change the business. But it's not looking at it, it's looking at it through the eye of a, not a business owner, right? So you have to go and you have to think, and this is going to be an investment in your business. If you've already got it, it's going to be an investment in time to get in and get past that learning curve. But maybe you have 0 contacts today. Well, if you truly plan on being in business 12 months from now, 24 months from now, don't you think that you're going to come in contact with people that you're going to want to keep their information? How are you ever going to follow up with a distressed seller 6 months from now if you don't have a place to keep all of their information, right? So that's what a CRM is, and that's what the Client Genie does. So I can go in here into contacts, and you can see I've got just over 1,600 contacts in this database. Okay. Now again, maybe you're starting with 0 today, but 12 months from now you might have 300 in here. 24 months from now, maybe you've got 900, right? It's just a snowball effect, okay? 5 years from now, you're going to have a huge book of business, and it's all going to be in one place, and you're going to be able to go back and market back to, previous renters. Maybe you can market back to renters and turn them into buyers. But if I can't easily go and see, okay, who are all my cash buyers, it's going to be really hard to do that, right? So you can see I've got 400 cash buyers. And I could turn around, I could send these people an email blast. I could, put them on an autoresponder campaign. I could give them a call. If I want to get more specific and see, who my cash buyers are in 63116 zip code, because I've got a property in the 63116 zip code, or maybe you're in multiple markets. Maybe you're in St. Louis and Austin, Texas, right? This database allows you to segment those leads so you can tell who's who, okay? So that's really important. Now again, if there's any questions, again, jot them down and we'll jump in and we'll answer questions for about the last 10 minutes of this presentation. Okay, so let's take a look though at how easy it is to get in and actually build a website. Because like I said, it's 2016, you're going to need some sort of a website, okay? people are going to want to go and they're going to want to learn more about your business. And the first thing they're going to do is they're probably going to go do a Google search on your company's name. Okay? Now, if you don't have a website, it's not the end of the world, but you might have some people scratching their head saying, is this person really in business, or is this just one of those people that's trying to rip me off? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of that out there, right? So the more you can look like a legitimate business, even if you're just getting started, the better off you're going to be, all right? So it's really easy to create a site. You just click Create New Site. Now we've got some different templates you can choose from. Okay, we've got an authority site, we've got niche-specific websites. So if you want to build a website just to market your properties that you have for sale, so if you'd be driving buyers to that site, then you build a buyer site. If you want a website just for seller leads, then you build a seller site. Same thing with renters, same thing with rent-to-own prospects, right? For this example, let's just build an authority site. The authority site is kind of your all-in-one brand website. It's got all the content. So click Build Site. Click yes, let's do it. Now this process is going to take, it's going to be a video and it'll show you kind of what to do next, right? And by the time the video is over, your website will have been created. Okay, we're going to skip that. What I'm going to do is, while this is getting built, I'm going to go in and show you kind of what that website looks like. Okay, so this is an example of and I apologize. My internet, we've had some internet issues today, so my internet's a little slow. I'm sorry. But this is an example of one of our websites that's pretty much out of the box. Okay, I changed the background image, didn't really change much of anything else. So you have full control over what you can edit in this site, but the really cool thing about it is it's built for you. You can go in and change some stuff, you can delete some stuff, you can add some stuff. It's not a super rigid site. A lot of these other, real estate website companies, you basically can add your logo, you can add your company name, and that's about it. You can't manipulate the structure of the site. You can't really brand it. I mean, like, I could tell, in 5 seconds that looking at a website, if it's, an Investor Carrot website, or if it's a Real Flow website, or if it's one of these other companies, because you just can't. They all look the same, right? Ours don't. Out of the box, they're obviously going to look the same, but we give you the ability to really get in and customize them and build them out. So let me see. I hope this won't take too long, because I would like to show you kind of what the process is from start to finish. So this is still building out. So while this builds out, let's jump back in over here, and I'll show you what some of this lead capture looks like. All right. So here's a perfect example. There's a reason your house isn't selling. Enter your information below to receive a free report called How to Sell Your House Fast in Today's Market. So this is something you could go in and change. You could say, how to sell your house fast in the, Denver market, or whatever market you're in. But you'll see we're kind of enticing them, giving them a reason to opt in. We're not just saying contact us today, because nobody's going to do that. Everybody's asking for your information. You got to give them a reason to give it to you. So this is called a lead magnet, if you're not familiar with it. Kind of a free report or a free case study or whatever. We use reports. They're built into all of those campaigns. Okay. Let me see. There's a question here. So Anthony asked, and it's a really good website, or I'm sorry, a really good question. He asked, is it better to have one website that deals with buyers, sellers, etc., all in one, or specific websites? Anthony, my opinion, just based off of kind of seeing what other people have done, is that it's better to have specific sites. But like if you're doing wholesale, for example, right? It's better to have a website dedicated just for sellers and a website dedicated just for buyers, because those are two completely different types of individuals, right? If you're doing more stuff on the retail side, then having an authority site like this is fine. Okay. Now, with that said, Anthony, you can have 3 websites in REIBB Black Book. So you could have a buyer site, you could have a seller site, and then you could have your generic, not generic, but your general brand site. So if somebody Googles, Anthony's investment company .com, they can see your business and they can see everything that you do. But if you're directly driving people to your seller site or your buyer site, you'll have those as well. Okay, so hopefully that helps answer it a little bit. But my opinion is having websites specific to sellers and buyers is better from a marketing standpoint. But from a brand perspective, it's good to have this authority site too, and that's why we give you the ability to create 3 sites. But let's go in and just kind of fill this information out here. Let's first see if this site's done. All right, cool. This one's done. So I want to show you from scratch, just to prove to you that I didn't, do anything. They work out of the box. If we go to this brand new site that we created, and again, I apologize, guys. My internet's running a little slow here. Bear with me. All right, we're not going to wait for that. I apologize. But if somebody fills out this information, or better yet, if you drive somebody to a page where they can get a fast cash offer, so if you drive them to a page here where they can get a fast cash offer, like let's say I'll fill this out. Just fill out some phony information here. Let's do an address. We'll do, let's see. I'll do bedroom, bathroom, and then the rest of this stuff is optional. All these web forms, by the way, are completely customizable. You can ask any questions that you want. All that data is going to get dumped right into the system. Okay, so click get a fast cash offer. So where this differs from going out to a company like Investor Carrot or getting a free website with like GoDaddy or Gmail or going to like Wix, is that those are just standalone websites. They're not integrated, and there's no intelligence behind it sending that lead to your database, right? And okay, there we go. Sorry, guys, my internet's really running slow. So we captured that lead, and if I go back into REI Black Book, I can now see that I have one new lead captured today. And if I click on that, it's Greg Seller, and that's the lead that we captured, right? And so I now see that I've got Greg Seller's information. I got his email address. By the way, he's automatically categorized as a seller, and that's this website out of the box. All the web forms are set up. They're all ready to go. They're all done. You can edit them and you can customize them, but if you were to just use it straight out of the box, it's good to go. It also flags this contact as asking for a cash offer inquiry. So you could go run a report saying how many people requested cash offer inquiries in the last 30 days, right? And you could pick up the phone and call all of those people, or you could send an email blast to all those people. You'll also notice down here under to-dos, there's an automatic to-do scheduled to actually let you know that tomorrow you need to pick up the phone and make an offer because this person opted in. Okay, these are just some of the simple systems that are available to you right out of the box with REI Black Book. Now, also, we captured that lead, but we've also got a new property lead. This used to say 11, it now says 12. And so you can see that property lead, 1509 West Fry, goes directly into your system, right? And you can see it was Greg Seller that filled out the information. I got his phone number. Great. Let me pick up the phone and give Greg a call. While you're on the phone with him, you can ask him all of these questions, right? And so this is what we call a lead sheet, okay? Or some people call it seller information sheet, property information sheet, but this is also customizable. Very user-friendly. You can drag and drop any questions out that you want to. Quick save field. So that's just kind of a demonstration on how easy it is to drag questions out, click done customizing, And then you can go through and ask all these questions. And now we're into, we've captured the lead. Now we need to actually analyze the deal, right? And so that brings us to the next pillar, is actually managing that deal, right? So who are the contacts that are involved in this transaction? Greg's the seller, okay? Let's say you're doing a rehab. You can add existing contacts. So you can add, let's see. You can add existing contacts from your database. So let's say John Bailey is my contractor. So I don't know if I have contractor in here. This is just a demo account. If not, you can add it. So let's just say other. So I can add John as my, add John as my contractor. I could add, and it's not going to show up because I don't have it in here, but just know, guys, you can add custom roles and custom categories. You can add your contractor, you can add your appraiser, and what this allows you to do is just manage each deal. And so if you've got multiple deals going on at once, you can see who's involved in which transactions, right? Who's your funding partner? Who's your title officer? Who's doing the inspections? You can build out detailed repair lists, okay? You can go through and build out detailed repair lists. You can run comps on properties, all right? So you can go in and run comps on properties. And now I know somebody's going to ask, these do not come from the MLS. So we're completely transparent with that. I mean, there's really no way to pull comps directly from the MLS unless you have direct access to it because you're either a realtor or you're a realtor's assistant, right? So the MLS does not give that data away. But what it allows you to do is at least get a good pulse on what's going on in the market. And this is in Chicago, this property. So we also give you rental comps as well. Okay, so you can see what properties you're renting for if you're, if you're a landlord. All right, so you can run comps. You can select comps to use. Let me actually jump in a property. Let me jump in a property that I've built out a little bit, so you get a little bit of a better idea here. This is the same address, but this is one that I've built out. So you've got the comps. You can select the comps to determine your ARV. We've got a max allowable offer calculator. Let's just say the ARV is $300,000. Okay, it's going to factor in your maximum allowable offer. You can also analyze the deal. So we've got a full-blown deal analyzer. All right. Whether you're doing a rental, lease option, fix and flip, you can factor in all of your financing strategies, all of your expenses, the income for the property, how long you plan on holding it for, and it's actually going to spit out a bunch of really great reports for you. And you can use these when trying to find funding. You can use these when trying to sell them. Okay, if you sell turnkey rentals, some people out there that do that, this is a great report for you to actually leverage in your marketing because you can show an investor that's going to buy it what their return on this property is going to be over the next 8 years. If you're a wholesaler, you can use these reports to entice investor buyers to buy the property from you because they'll be able to actually see what their potential return is going to be. Okay, so it's super cool. Running out of time here a little bit, so I want to speed up to the marketing. You can market your properties. Okay, so with the touch of a button, you can create single property websites. You can market this property on your website. So if I go to this website here, if I go to Browse Homes for Sale, all of our property marketing module integrates directly with, where's that here? I don't think I have it published, I'm sorry. But our property marketing module integrates directly with the websites, so you'll be able to see all of the properties that you have available on your website, and it's super easy to just go and advertise these properties on your site. Okay, and then of course you have the Property Blaster too, which allows you to syndicate this out to Zillow and Trulia and HotPads and Oodle and OLX and all those other sites. Let's see, Miguel asked, are there tutorial videos to help with learning the curve with REIBB Black Book? Great question, Miguel. There absolutely are training videos. We've got 100+ training videos. So if we go to the Learn tab and you go to Video Training Library, they're broken out by tool. So you can see, in your web tool, you can, if you want to see how to build a website and customize a website, you can do that. So how to create a site, how to add a new page, how to add your logo, how to add a blog post, how to, assign a domain name to your site, right? So unfortunately, I didn't have time in this call to go through and really show you how to edit the websites, but I do just really fast want to show you, at least on a high level, and I know I'm jumping around here, so forgive me, guys. So this is that site we created together, straight out of the box. If I click on Edit Page, this is what excites me most about REI Blackbook, is just how easy it is to use, and really how you can customize it to your own business and your brand. Assuming you have a decent internet connection. Hopefully it's better than mine right now, I'm sorry. But similar to like Wix or Squarespace, we've got a front-end editor. So you can see all the changes you're making on the front end. You don't have to touch any code. If you want to change a background image, you can do that. So I'm just going to replace this background image with one from our global library. Let's just choose this one. Let's choose a real estate one. Let's do this one. And you can see it just updates right away. And when you're ready, you just click Done, Publish Changes, and now you're a web developer, right? I mean, there's training videos that show you how to do that. Miguel and everybody else, we also have webinars that we do every other week. Every other Wednesday, we do webinars, and they're all either built around marketing for real estate investors or how to leverage the tools that we have in your marketing to create more efficient systems, right? We don't teach you how to wholesale or, how to fund your properties. That's not our industry. That's not our niche. We teach you how to create automation in your business and how to market and generate more leads, right? Which really then drives the business forward. So Anthony asks, is the brand website the same thing as a landing page? No. So a landing page is a landing page is, a second here. It's just a single page website. So this is an example of a landing page. It doesn't have any, there's no menu, right? You might have a logo or something up here, but there's no menu. It's just a single page site built for one reason, right? To capture leads. So you can see here the difference. They could go to a million different pages here on a landing page. So if you're doing direct mail, you want to send them to a landing page instead of a website. Because if you send them to the home page of your website, they then have to go, okay, where do I want to go? Contact us today. Oh no, I want to sell my house. Yeah, let's maybe get a fair cash offer, right? You're creating a lot more work for them. Just send them directly to a landing page, right? And it's gonna allow you to capture more leads. Okay, so with that said, guys, I'm gonna jump back into the presentation really fast. Like I said, I'm not gonna. This is not gonna be. This is not a long, drawn-out sales pitch, but I do want to offer to those of you that are interested a special offer that we've got. Whether you're a newbie or you're experienced, REI Blackbook really can help you create some of those efficiencies in your business, and really it's going to cut to the chase, right? So typically you could get in and if you want to. Be like Ruben or any of these other investors that I talked about. Like I said, we've got a little offer for you, right? So we'll just cut to the chase. Typically, the way it works is, you got to go in and you've got to build all this stuff on your own. You've got to get websites. You've got to get landing pages. You've got to get email marketing. You've got to get, property marketing websites. Project management. We've got all that stuff built in here. You could go build that out, and it would cost you, I don't know, $500 to $700. We went out and priced out a bunch of different systems. We came up with about $612. Okay, now that's about $7,000, $8,000 a year, depending on what systems you're using. If you take action today, your investment for REI Blackbook is only $19.97. Okay, now my assumption is this is probably not your first time on a webinar. Like I told you. We've got a special offer for all of Greg's students. Damon's been doing, been working with Greg for a long time, so he always likes to really take care of Greg's students. I know you guys do a lot of awesome stuff. I've never personally met Greg. I've talked to him over the phone. Seems like a great instructor. So we really like to try to hook up Greg's students as much as possible. Okay. So we're also going to throw in all of the content that you saw. So 19 campaigns, 11 landing page templates. We're going to expand that actually to about 50 pretty soon here, which you guys will get access to. The ability to create up to 3 websites, 19 full-blown campaigns with lead magnets, so free reports, all of that, and then full-blown campaigns as well as monthly newsletters. Okay, we've invested well over $75,000 to create all this content. If anybody has ever hired a copywriter, you'll know that it's not cheap, right? This is good stuff. I mean, this is a professional copywriter specialized in real estate. It's really solid stuff. It's tested. It works well. So we're actually going to include all that content just for Greg's students. You also get support. If you guys need to call in, you have any help, you can call us. What actually happens is when you sign up for REI Black Book, you're going to get a phone call in the first 24 hours. And on that phone call, one of our representatives is going to book a one-on-one implementation call with you to help set your system up, which is going to help lower that curve, that learning curve, right? You're also going to get 2 tickets to our boot camp. These are live events we do in St. Louis 2 times a year. The whole purpose of these events is to show you how to create these automated systems. Now, we've got webinars, we've got all those different types of things. You could definitely learn from home and you could learn on your own, but I'm sure all of you at some point in your life have been to some sort of a seminar, and it's just a great experience, right? I mean, you're in the room with 200, 250 like-minded individuals from all across the country. We've got presenters that we fly in. These are not national speakers. These are typically our most successful users, and they're just showing you down to earth how they do their thing, right? So these tickets go for $9.97 a piece. We're going to give you 2 of them for free, and that's legitimately almost a $2,000 value. All right? So we're up to about $7,000 in total value. If you take action tonight, your investment is only $997. All right? Now, REI Black Book is $97 a month, okay? But you actually get 30 days to get in and use the system with the money-back guarantee. All right? Now, you can go to reiblackbook.com/unleashed to learn more about this. You can purchase REI Black Book if you're interested. I'll also include the questions that you guys have. For the first 4 people that take action, you're going to get a one-on-one implementation with myself, where we're going to go through and kind of dissect your marketing, what you're doing right now. If you're not doing any marketing, we'll help you create a marketing plan. But you'll get that one-on-one implementation call with myself, and not to toot my horn too much because I don't like doing that. But I've had the privilege to work with thousands of real estate investors across the country and peek into their business and see what works, and more importantly, what doesn't work. And I'll be able to shed a little bit of a light on that for you and help you implement some of this stuff in your business today. Okay, so you will get a one-on-one call set up, and like I said, you also get my personal 100% money-back guarantee. So if you invest the $997, if you move forward with the offer that we have for Greg's students, you'll get to get in and basically test drive it for 30 days. And if you decide it's not for you, we'll happily refund your money, right? We're not gonna. There's no tricks. It's not gonna say, well, you logged in, 10 times and you built a website and you booked a one-on-one call with Josh, so you don't qualify. It doesn't matter. You just call us, say, hey, it's not for me. No harm, no foul. We shake hands, part ways, friends. Okay. So if you take action today, like I said, $997 is your investment tonight. And to get that deal, one second here. Let me try to go back to my browser here. So if you go to reiblackbook.com/unleashed, Greg's happy face. So for a limited time, it's actually till Thursday night at midnight. You can come here. You can learn more about what we have to offer, and you can take advantage of the deal that we have for Greg, okay? For Greg's students. If at this point you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, guys, I'll give you my email. It's josh@reiblackbook.com. Shoot me an email if you ever have a question about marketing, whether you're a user or not. I'm happy to help. Miguel asked, what if you're already a new member? So if you guys are already a new member, you can go to, I'll send you a link to sign up for one of these one-on-one calls. It will not be with myself. It's going to be with one of our customer support reps, but they know their stuff. They know the system. They know how to help you out. So if you're already an existing member, Miguel, shoot me an email, or anybody else. My email again is josh@reiblackbook.com, and I'm happy to help out. So let's see, there's a couple other questions. So Lance says, yes, a one-on-one call would be great. Lance, if you're already a member, like I said, shoot me a email, and I'll get you the information on how to book one of those one-on-one calls. So David said, I've noticed that REI Blackbook has 4 email templates. How do we use those? Yeah, so you would use those as an autoresponder campaign, David. Let me try to jump back into REI Blackbook. So inside of the Client Genie, inside of the Resources tab, if you go to the Content Library, you'll have access to, let's just type in mobile. You'll have access to the mobile home autoresponder. Okay, so if you don't have it already, you can download it. I've already got it, so you can see the eyeball. So it's 4 emails. 4 emails that are scheduled to go out over the course of 21 days. And so you can take those emails and you can assign, like, let's just assume that, now if you don't have any prospects yet, you can assign that action set to a web form. I don't have time to show you how to do it today, I'm sorry, but there's a whole entire webinar on action sets if you go to webinar replays. And for those of you that aren't members of REI Blackbook, you'll have immediate access to all of these webinars too. So if we go back, I did it probably about a month or 2 ago now, but it's all relevant. So how to leverage REI Blackbook action sets. So you check that out, and it's going to show you how to leverage action sets. So when people actually opt into a web form, they'll automatically get that autoresponder campaign. Another great one, David, is one I did 2 weeks ago, which should be at the top, 19 email campaigns that will make you money. So this is actually going to show you how to go in and use those email campaigns. So check that one out for sure. All right, guys, with that, if you don't have any other questions, I really appreciate your time tonight. I know you could be doing a lot of things on a Tuesday evening, so I appreciate you spending about 90 minutes with me. If you're interested in the deal we got going on, it'll be going on until Thursday night. It's exclusive for Greg's students. If you've got any questions about the deal itself, if you're not a user, like I said, shoot me an email, josh@reiblackbook.com. Rhonda, with that, if you don't have any other questions for me, we could wrap things up.
I appreciate your time, Josh. And for everyone who has not yet been part of the REI Blackbook Boot Camp, it is fantastic. I've been there. It's amazing. So that alone is well worth the $9.97 offer that you're making tonight. It's very, very good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say. And again, guys, those tickets do come with this deal. So reiblackbook.com/unleashed. This will be available till Thursday night. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh. We appreciate you too. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you.
Everyone else have a good evening. And if you have anything at all that you need from me, please shoot me an email or call me, and I'm happy to help you any way I can. Good night, everyone.